have I told you how much I love doing Town Hall Academies each and every Friday live at 12 noon? Well, I do. So glad to have you here. We're going to talk about second in command and COO perspective. And many of you really probably think of what's the COO, the Chief Operating Officer. And a lot of times in many businesses, it's the general manager. But we've never done, I love to call this job number two, the second in command. I'm glad you're here offering great aftermarket insight to you and all kinds of great wisdom that is going to come from my guest today. Watch us live on the website, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Glad to have you all here. Let me introduce my guest. No. Let me first tell you that we're coming to you live from the Remarkable Results Radio Podcast studio. We produce all kinds of incredible content for you each and every week. Let's find out who our guests are here with me today. Chris Shagan. Did I say that right, Chris?
Chris Shagnon.
Shagnon. I'm sorry. Chris Shagnon. I just got to read my own writing. General Manager and Chief Operating Officer of Cardinal Plaza Shell in Springfield, Virginia. Good to have you here, Chris.
Good to have you guys. Good morning, Carm, or good afternoon. Hi, how is everybody?
Yeah, we're great. Jack Curran is here, Gnc Tire and Auto Service. Been in business, you guys, since 1996. 2 locations in Chantilly and Manassas, Virginia. Jack, good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And David Huntley is with us, the General Manager, Vice President of Greg's Japanese Auto, 8 locations in Greater Seattle, Washington. Hey, David.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Carl.
Wow, this is going to be great, and I think there's going to be all kinds of great lessons to learn from here. And if you're with us at all on social media, please give us a share or a like, check in with your city, ask a question of my panel. That would be really cool on this beautiful August summer Friday afternoon. And I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I'm done, I'm heading out. I mean, Annie and I are going down to the lake. So, that's what Fridays up here in Buffalo, New York really mean. Again, we're always live on Fridays at 12 noon. Hopefully you're going to learn something today. Be a fly on the wall. Listen to this great team, educational, informative, illuminating, instructing, and revealing kind of stuff that we're going to throw at you. Hey, listen, thank you so much to our partner, Shopware. Digital communication makes it easy for your customers to understand the value that you're providing when you fix their car. You'll feel appreciated. Your staff will feel appreciated. And most importantly, you'll see the work. You'll sell the work. You'll sell the work to pay the bills on the web at getshopware.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Hey, a very interesting town hall next Friday. Supply chain, getting parts to market post-pandemic. I have an incredible panel it's all at the manufacturer level. And of course, Paul McCarthy is AASA president. But we're going to talk about getting the parts to market. I've asked a lot of service professionals what's going on that side of the world. And we're going to have these guys to talk about it. And I wish I would have done this about 6-8 months ago, but I still think it's important right now because, hey, guys, you have told me in the green room before we went on that business hasn't been better. And I just hope you're getting all the parts because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that next week. So, okay. Second in command, COO perspective. Jack, I want to start with you. You had told me this. In fact, I think it's a quote that we actually should put up and we should blaze it across. You said the COO role is the now and the CEO role is the future. And that just seems to be a great definition of what it is that you do as a kind of, if you will, a lead integrator.
I believe it was Chris that said that one.
No, it was Chris. Yeah. I'm sorry, Chris. Chris, it
me.
Was you. I'm sorry, Chris. It was you. Yes.
Yeah. The COO role is kind of day to day, making sure that the bolts and nuts are all lined up and moving like they're supposed to. The CEO role, and I've listened to several of your most recent podcasts, and you've got a lot of very bright people coming on. Their roles in the future, 3 to 5 years, they need to set the direction that the business is going to go. And it's our job as COO to take that information and then turn that into a working operation at a shop or multi-shop level, so that the CEO's vision gets implemented, and that's kind of our role, is to take that vision and then make it actually work the way it's supposed to. Because as we all know, there's sometimes a difference between the way things would like to be done and the way things actually can be done at a functional level.
I want to ask a question, and I want to make a comment that many people are going to listen to this and they're saying, well, wait a minute, I'm a small business. I do $1 million. I have one location. Carm's got all these big hitters on, but to the point, and we need to understand, Chris, you are a one location. I mean, as far as a shop, and of course you have some other stuff going on, but more importantly, I believe that it's the one location. So you cannot think that I'm small and I can't do this, right?
Correct. We are a one location shop. We've got 9 bays, one of which is an inspection bay. 2 are dedicated light service, and then the other 6 bays are just mechanical work all day long. We do touch things like tires and stuff like that, but we're one location, and we turn 60, 70 cars a day, if not more. Some days it's as many as 90 cars. So there's a lot of moving parts to our one little location. And I would say to those small shops that if you're going to grow, you need to have somebody in charge, a CEO that can set that vision to grow. And then you need to have a COO or a general manager, whatever you want to call it, but a COO to take that vision to grow and put it into practice. Because if the CEO is at that one small shop that has aspirations of growing, if they're stuck, selling tickets or ordering parts or, finding out, who the next customer is going to be, they can't focus on what the growth is going to be.
Let's put another thing into perspective, guys, altogether. Whoever wants to try to attach your thoughts to my thoughts, I am a single shop owner and I have a shop manager. Is that really my COO?
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think somebody who can take your direction and run with it while you're focused on the growth opportunities of the business, that is your second in command. Somebody that you trust to put in play what you think is the best moves. So if I would go to my shop manager and says, listen, I've got to redirect your responsibilities because I have found an opportunity just through listening to this Town Hall Academy to redirect your efforts while I finally, my God, I never realized that I really could work on the business, not in it, if I take you as the shop manager and really stretch and redefine your role.
Actually, I had to fire Greg. He was my brother and partner. We had 3 locations. He was still acting as a service advisor, but he was dealing with so many bankers, advertising executives, insurance, everything, that after a while I ran an ad, had somebody come through the door, said he's here to respond to my ad. And Greg said, whose job is he applying for? I said, yours. What? You need to move up. And that's how we ended up getting to 8 shops.
Wow. That's a great story, Dave.
It had to happen. Customer service was suffering. He was so focused on all the other things that he wasn't answering the phones. He wasn't taking care of the customer at the counter.
So the story is boot him upstairs.
Exactly.
And so how do we seize I'm a shop manager in the shadow of the owner, right? And do I have the stones to boot him upstairs? Or do we just sit down in a room and saying, listen, you may not have the strategy in your mind, but I listened to Carm's podcast with those guys, and I'm coming in here to tell you, we want to boot you upstairs. Should that discussion happen?
Yeah, he was mad for a day or 2, but he got over it.
I think once they see the growth opportunities, it makes them feel a little bit better. For us, it's still a new thing. Our owner, Greg and Christina, are used to, being in the mix, and they put me in place to try and take a bunch off their plate. They need to focus on the growth of the business. I should be focusing on how the business is run. But I think it's tough for them because they grew and built everything that they have. And I think it would be kind of hard to let go. It's kind of like having a kid and taking them to daycare for the first time. You have to trust the person that you're putting in place to be able to do the things that you want them to do.
I agree with that, Jack. I think that there's probably a lot of shop owners that listen to your podcast, Carm, that are in a similar situation where you get accustomed to the hustle and bustle, and it's exciting. Being there, helping the customers, everybody that walks in the door, you get to greet them and make them satisfied. That's one of the reasons that we probably all got into what we're doing, is because we like helping people. And if you're a CEO owner, and your job is not to be there helping those people in the way that you had been doing probably for years, if not decades, and you put somebody into that place to do that for you, it can probably be difficult. But speaking to all the owners that are watching your show right now, if you don't have somebody like that, then it's very difficult on yourself, because you get pulled back into that daily grind, which is exciting. I mean, there's no way about it. It's exciting to be doing it, which is probably why Jack and David and myself enjoy doing what we're doing. Although we all have leadership to what we do, where we're showing our own advisors how to handle that daily grind.
Guys, I can't help but ask the question about letting go, okay? Because I am the kingpin, the center of the wheel. And here I'm going to say to the rest of my team, you report to him. When, how could I let go? This is my baby. What was the transition like in each of your roles?
Well, I think it was fairly easy for me because Greg and I have been brothers. I mean, he's my older brother, but we've been in business together. I think our first business, I was 15, he was 18. We made $10,000 in a summer. My parents were blown away. So we've always been in business together. So he's always had a lot of trust for my operations, my feel, and has confidence in my abilities. And so it was pretty easy for him to kind of let go. And once, like I said, he got over it after a week or two. But then he had so many things to do and started going out and looking for other locations, all that kind of thing. So it really was with that step that really made us move up and expand and do it with style.
Did he thank you?
Yeah, it took him a little while. He's gotten over it.
I love that. Chris, how about letting go? Was it easy?
The transition to my role has been pretty easy. It's been probably more difficult for me than it has been for Scott Brown, the owner and CEO of our business. I've worked with him or for him for over 20 years. I had been prior to this an assistant manager and sales manager for over 10 of those years, maybe 15 of those years. So it was an opportunity on my end, and Scott, he had already had a lot of trust in me. So I think it was easy once I stepped up to the plate and took a little bit of leadership to it for him to see it. We kind of had a fairly good structure leading up to a CEO COO relationship, where we have a general manager, a very, very smart guy who is still with us at a different location that we started. And Scott's been on to talk to you about that other location in prior episodes. So he's still with the company, and we have a very, it's almost like a family relationship at our shop. And, it's a good relationship. And for me, it's been easy. It's been probably more difficult for me to grow into my role as COO than it was for him to grow into his role as CEO. Although I think he's done very well with it.
Did you help him along the way? Did you guys get any kind of training, counseling? And I don't mean lay on the couch, tell me your problems, but did any kind of coaching help?
Yeah, I mean, we've all been through several coaching. We're members of teams. Jack and I are both part of the similar or same group of COOs. So that's how I know Jack. And Scott did the same thing, but with CEO. So I did notice that, once he started to get some more training, he took to it very well, and kind of instilled in me, the type of CEO COO relationship that needs to be there. And it was great. The training that we did get. There's a lot of reading and a lot of communicating, and it's nothing incredible, but it worked along.
Jack, how was the transition from the team that needed to work for you?
Ours is still ongoing. I got hired 2.5 years ago, and I got promoted right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I had probably the worst trial by fire that anybody would ever get. Slow business, losing people just because they didn't want to come in during the pandemic, no customer base. He and I have been kind of dancing, trying to figure out each other, to make sure that it's going to stick and work. Doing the COO group, we do a PXT test. I'm very cool, calm, collected. He's got the passion. So I think once we get in lockstep and he takes the CEO role and I take the COO role, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
So basically what you're saying is, hey, he really fits the mold of the CEO and you really fit the mold of the COO. And I guess like a good marriage, you just have to work your way into the accepting that.
Yeah, it's a good amount of trust. He's got to trust that I'm going to do the right thing. I've got to trust that he's going to do the right thing. And, we're building that, and it happens every day. For him to trust me to oversee 2 stores where he's never really had anybody do that before, that's a form of letting go. He's doing his best to grow the business, and I can't wait to see where we are 5 years from now. I'm super excited.
That sounds like a great vision that you have. Guys, I've heard the word trust twice now in the last 5 minutes. No doubt that's one of the ingredients that's going to make that relationship work.
Or not.
Or not.
Yes.
I think the big thing is you both have to be kind of thick-skinned. 2 people shouldn't always be in agreement. You should almost always challenge each other, always be able to, have a differing opinion or a different approach and be able to bring it to the table without fear of retribution, without fear of being yelled at. I think it's good to be able to, at least behind closed doors, be able to have a challenging conversation. And the next day, nothing happened. There's no emotional baggage. There's no, I don't like the way that you made me feel yesterday. Today's a new day. But there has to be some form of open communication where there's challenging opinions and ideas.
Yeah. A little tip into that also, Jack, is that speaking of challenges, the COO kind of has its own challenges in that you have to manage both ways. You have to manage the CEO, and then you have to manage all of your direct reports below you. You have to manage your service advisors or sales team. So you kind of get stuck in a sandwich where, you have a CEO that you have to make sure it's your job as the COO to make sure that CEO above you is staying on task. So yeah, there's that challenge. And then there's the challenge of course, the salespeople below you. So just, what you said just now, Jack, kind of brought that to a head where I was like, yeah, you gotta look up and make sure that the CEO is staying on track. And staying in their lane and which is, 3 to 5 years ahead or the way that the business is going.
Hey guys, this has been an unbelievable, very candid conversation so far. I want to come back and do segment B here in a sec. I want to tell you a little bit about our partner Shopware. When was the last time you ordered something online? A burger from Grubhub, your groceries from Amazon. Well, how about the things that are really high tech, like auto repair? Shopware's online interactive repair orders lets you do just that. Check it out for yourself on the web at getshopware.com. I'm loving this, guys. Thank you so much for your incredible, candid perspective here. You're teaching me a lot too, and that's great. Let's talk about, Jack. At least let's start with you. The strengths needed for the job.
Thick skin. Like I was saying before, you have to be able to go up to your CEO and have a challenging belief and believe that you're going to come out with a job. You know, that's the biggest thing that I think a lot of people in this role won't always feel comfortable doing, is challenging their boss. You know, hey, you know, you have this idea, but I think it could be better if we did it this way. Or, you know, any type of differing opinion. You have to be able to believe that you're going to come out on the other end okay. So you have to have that thick skin.
Thick skin.
The memory of a goldfish as well. You know, sometimes, you know, you have a difficult conversation and you have to forget that ever happened. You know, the negativity, just got to leave it behind you and move on forward. You know, the business has to go.
So if I am the CEO and I'm ready to make the move into COO, general manager new role in the company, I guess having thick skin as the COO, are you saying, or thick skin as the CEO?
A little bit of both.
Both.
I think the COO, they should feel comfortable challenging
each other.
Correct.
Because as you described, I mean, who is it that described their owner as a very high dominant, you know, person, and you guys as a, you know, conformity, get it done, dotted I's, cross T's, integrator. Well, he wouldn't have a fresh visionary idea if it bit him in the eye, and the CEO cannot have that opinion of you, because there's no way you can implement the vision if you didn't have vision too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, the COO needs to have they need to have their pulse on how the business is going on a day-to-day basis. The COO, that is. So they need to know what will work and what won't work. And you can't be afraid to try new things, either as a CEO or a COO. You know, stagnation in this industry is what kills businesses, in my opinion. So I think that both Scott and I probably have a very similar opinion on that, where, you know, we are always looking at things that will change, help us grow, help us get better, help us become more efficient. I think going back to the qualities that a COO needs to have is they do need to have attention to detail. They need to pay attention to the smallest things, down to, you know, the light service technician, and they don't need to manage them. You know, you don't want to be a micromanager, but you do need to know what's working, with even the smallest of details and up to the biggest of details. So, you know, attention to detail, and they need to be able to adapt and make change. The COO, I think a good CEO, much like Jack was saying, I think is, you know, somebody, you got to have a visionary of a CEO, somebody who's got ideas, somebody who can come up with ideas. And it doesn't matter if they come up with 100 bad ideas. If one of those ideas knocks it out of the park, you know, that's $1 million idea. You know, just keep on firing. And then the CEO will, you know, you'll come up with your own ideas because you're there. You know what's going on at that location or locations, and you can come up with your own ideas and say, hey, you know, Mr. CEO, I go up to Scott and say, hey, I think we should do this. He says, okay, either I think it's a good idea or I don't. Sometimes he says it's not, but I trust you. And then we go and do it, and it turns out to be good. There's
the trust, right?
Yeah.
There's the trust. Did any of your CEOs come to you with an? Did you ever go to the CEO with an idea, and he says, "Hey, that's my job"?
No. One of my favorite things about Greg and Christina is they're very forward thinking. They come up with hundreds of ideas, kind of like Chris was saying, and I'm willing to try them all out. We'll figure out a way to implement, plan, do what they want to do. But they'll never tell me, hey, that's a bad idea.
One of the other things that I heard was attention to detail. And your role as CEO, general managers in the company means that you are willing to look under every single rock for areas of improvement. The Kaizen, fix it before it breaks theory. Is that a key role?
Absolutely. You bet.
Yeah.
You got to try and take all the opportunities, especially in this job market. With your employees, you need to be cultivating them or they lose faith. So that's part of what people are really looking for is personal growth. As employees, I think that's one of the things that, this business is built out of employees. So you have to have candor with tact to try and get them to move forward and feel good about the position they're in, what they're doing, the part they play in the company. Without the employees, we're just a shop with a hoist and a bunch of parts on the shelves.
Yeah. David, does the rest of the team report to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
In each case, Jack, Chris, everybody reports to you?
Yes.
Okay. Was that a very difficult transition to give to you or for you to manage at all?
Well, Greg's a pretty hands-on guy, so he certainly likes to be involved. But I think he also likes to travel. So he'll be gone for a long time, sometimes 5-6 months at a time, travel in Asia. So I get to talk to him a few times, and I make sure to have some bullet points that we touch on. But 99% of the time, I'm dealing with all the employees on the day-to-day basis, and like I said, just trying to be positive. You have to be constructive, but you have to be self-aware in the fact sometimes you do have to coach them and expect more. Do it nicely, but expect more.
One of the challenges that I believe that anyone who's listening says, yeah, I got to do this, but I can see some things that would get in my way. In your particular case, Chris, with Scott having been that lead for so long, he has to show restraint. And if someone comes to him, because they always came to him, he has to say, you got to go to Chris. Did that happen?
No, not necessarily. Like I said before, we kind of had a general manager aspect before my tenure as COO. So it's the we've had a bit of layer between the technicians or the service advisors and Scott prior to that. So it wasn't very difficult when people now started coming to me when they had their problems or if they needed help with something or if they had a question. So I don't necessarily think that it's difficult in that regards. I could understand how if there was a smaller shop or somebody that didn't have a COO, how that could be difficult because you have a business filled with people and everybody gets used to ways of doing things and protocols. And when that changes, then you have to outline a new set of stipulations as far as chain of command and how things are going to work. So I could understand how that would be a problem. And as long as everybody's communicating well and there is that trust there, then I don't think it should be a problem in the future for companies like that.
Yeah. Frank Scandor brought up a great point. At Transformers, we teach about the visionary and the implementer. Read Rocket Fuel, the EOS operating system, which is kind of almost perfectly, if you will, tab A slot B, works in this instant. I've done some great series with Barry Barrett, who is an EOS implementer. I think we have one more series to produce. And that's all about, the COO role of the visionary and the COO role as the integrator or implementer. So thank you, Frank, for reminding us all about that. Boy, guys, thank you for bringing this down because even though you've got great experiences, our job here is to help the other shop owners out there that are at a critical growth mode in their business. I mean, everybody's business is up. And if they did everything right pre-pandemic and they're doing it all right now, they're seizing sales opportunity, new customer base, building new relationships, and they may ask themselves, how do I not lose this momentum? And so there's a lot of them out there that are probably sitting on the side saying, well, I don't want to lose this. We may have to rethink how we're running the business. So finding either the shop manager who becomes the general manager or the COO role, something brand new for them. Our objective in talking all of this out is to share these stories that you guys have, your passion for the role that you have. And I'm loving where this is going. Jack, do you have any great story about the transition of the people reporting to you versus your CEO?
Yeah, I think it's been an exciting adventure so far. Greg and Christina super involved with the business, but they're starting to learn that I'm there to take care of the problems. So when somebody goes to them, they're getting pretty good about saying go see Jack. It's, I think, super challenging just because it's in its infancy. But like I said, once it hits, we're going to be a storm to be reckoned with. It's super exciting to watch it as it's happening.
Well, that's great. Hey, one more time, let's give a high five out to our partner Shopware. Here's a little tip for you. Sell with clicks, not calls. Showcase your technical expertise and get to yes faster. With Shopware's online interactive repair orders, you will put your value at your customers' fingertips. Book a demo from the great people over at Shopware at getshopware.com. So, David, how big is your to-do list?
I try and have 4 or 5 projects going at any one time. I find if I get more than that, it's tough to get anything done. But just try and make sure if I have fewer than that, sometimes I get a hold up and I'm not sure what to go on to. So try and have a few things going on, but try not to, I guess, inundate myself with minutia. So definitely let the guys at the counters handle the day-to-day operations of the shops, and trying to implement what Greg's put before me.
Yeah. And now you've been in this role quite a while, being the brother of Greg, but any thoughts, guys, on your first time that you had to let someone go and it wasn't the CEO who did it, but it was you?
Well, quite frankly, Greg's not good at letting people go. So
Okay. Another great reason why you're doing what you're doing. Okay.
yeah, he went up 2 times in a row, 2 days in a row to let a guy go, and he talked him out of it both times. So, and he just wasn't a good fit, and didn't really like the way he was dealing with our customers. In fact, I hated the way he was dealing with our customers. So I went up and let him go, and he asked me, he said, what would happen if I showed up on Monday? I said, well, you would be what we would call a volunteer. So it's so I've pretty much taken that role on over the years, and most of the coaching, but as far as Greg is concerned, pretty much confidence comes with success. So we've been successful over the years, and it's kind of allowed him to have confidence that things are going to go right. And he certainly likes to put in his 2 cents worth, but 99% of the time, unless it's a visionary change or whatever, it's on me and our crew.
Okay, guys, the audience is sitting here saying, I'm bought in, I get this, and let's move. I am watching this as a potential COO. I can see myself growing in the company and becoming number 2. And here I am, a CEO, shop owner, watching this, listening to this, saying, maybe it's time. What kind of training is necessary to, I don't think this happens. Click your fingers, you're in the role. I think you have to seek out leadership training, COO training. I think the masterminds, I know ATI, Transformers have this stuff that helps. Give us, if you will, from your perspectives, each of you, a little blueprint on how to pull this off.
Well, I don't think that there's any one specific way to pull off being a COO. I think that any individual who has the characteristics, attention to detail, the thought process, the ability to implement, not necessarily even in an automotive field, can be a COO. However, in my opinion, I think it usually is best when it comes from within a company. So if you have a service manager or somebody who has shown an inclination and has those abilities, you can't just throw anybody in there. But somebody who's shown the initiative would be probably best suited for a smaller company looking to grow. And I agree, like an organization like ATI or Transformers that has classes that are geared towards giving information to new COOs or people who want that extra management experience. That's a great way to start. But ultimately, I think that you need to have an an intimate amount of knowledge of the shop or shops that you're working at. You need to know it, up and down. You need to be able to eat, sleep, drink it. You wake up, you can remember where everything's supposed to go. You come back from vacation, if something's out of place. You have to know a lot about the place that you're at in order to implement, to be able to make it work. So that's kind of my thoughts on something like that.
Jack, what about you? And I'm not saying that you have the exact blueprint, but can you describe what needs to happen to pull off a transition like this?
I think from the CEO's perspective, there has to be a desire to. They have to want the change. I think reading books. There's a book that I have on my desk right now called "Make the Noise Go Away." Don't know if you've read it, but it's about a CEO COO relationship. How do I grow the business and begin the trust of having somebody else run the business? And they have to want to do that. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is you can't force this thing to happen. It's got to grow organically. Chris and his owner have been together for a long time. David and Greg have been together for a long time, whereas Greg, Christina, and myself, we've only been together for about 2.5 years. So, for us, it's we're learning to trust each other, because I think when you give somebody control of your business, they have to trust that I'm going to do the right thing every day. But they had the desire to, begin the growth pattern, and here we are.
So the prime responsibility, in my mind, what I continue to hear from you guys, is trust, but you have to earn it. Every single day you have to earn it, because it's yours to lose if you don't earn it.
Correct.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You mentioned a book, Make the Noise Go Away. We'll make sure that goes up on the books page on the website. Every book we ever talk about on the show, even mentioned, like you did, Jack, we'll put it up there. If it's good for you, it's probably good for others in the industry. So one more time, what kind of training do I need to get? Do I need to join a coaching group? Do I need to become part of a COO mastermind? Have you guys read a lot of books? I guess you earn it by becoming a great leader of the people that are now going to report to you, with, the vision and the values of the company, always held high. Any advice? I mean, kind of, let's wrap this up, trying to get again, I think we're sharing a tremendous amount of great information. We'll just go around the room, and any final words or any final thoughts from your talking points that we didn't cover that you feel will be excellent to share to our people. David, I'll start with you.
Well, I was lucky enough to have a mentor who'd owned a parts warehouse here in the area. He sold his business, came to work for Greg and I. And he was a great asset and a mentor to me for years, and really gave me more of a sense of the whole business, the profit and loss statements, the balance sheet, all that kind of thing. Up to that point, Greg and I had just been a couple of guys with a bank account and a couple of shops. But he really took it to another level. And then we also joined a bottom line impact group, which was pivotal. Getting in there, meeting a lot of other shop owners, getting candid advice, and really, I think in the long run, gave me a better feel for the challenges that we were going to be facing. And as we expanded, and it was fantastic trying to allow us to get in there and pick people's brains who've been successful, and really it was inspirational. It really was for me.
David just brought up a bunch of stuff, and I really want to just toss it back up there. He said the word financials, and if you think you could get by without knowing what a balance sheet, profit and or loss statement is, you're wrong. So that could be training that you need to go through. He brought up the fact that he joined the Bottom Line Impact Group with 20 Group. The networking is so critical. I don't think you could do this without the help. And then he also mentioned the word mentoring. And, guys, I don't think that's a bad idea to have a mentoring relationship inside the industry. And that would be that one day you guys could be a great mentor to a new COO in another company. And in fact, I look at what's going on with the COO part of our business as our industry is growing. People are adding stores. Their businesses are blossoming. This is the next frontier, in my mind, to great management and leadership. Thank you for bringing all that stuff, David. Chris, I'll go to you next.
So I guess the one thing that I want to say to the CEOs and owners that are watching and listening is that you've got to kind of let go a little bit and let the COO run the show. The day to day. That's kind of something that is something that I think that the CEOs and owners, once you have that amount of time, that you're not stuck behind the desk, you can focus on your business and where you want to take it in the future. For anybody who wants to be a COO, piggybacking on what David said, I do have a mentor that's the CEO of a shop out in Arizona. We talk most Wednesdays for probably about 20-30 minutes. We've got a pretty good relationship. I'm also in a COO group with ATI, along with Jackson, the same group as I am. And that's been a wonderful tool, both with the guidance and information that they've shared with us, but also having a network of other people that are in our same position to bounce ideas off of, to talk about the pitfalls of the position, things that we can do to make each other better. So if you're looking to become a COO, or if you have a CEO that is looking to promote somebody to a COO, getting into a group like that, or putting them in contact with another business leader that can give them some valuable information, then that's great. So on both sides of the CEO and COO relationship, CEOs step up, move yourself into the future. And then the COOs, become into the now, bring it home, run your shop.
Thanks for covering that again. I think that's a great quote. Is Mike Bennett the leader of your COO group?
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. And Jack, you have the last word, my friend.
So it's, I think the best thing is having the COO group, having a group of peers to be able to talk to, who understand what you're going through on a day-to-day basis. That's nice. They also do a CEO group, which we're just now getting into, and they play off of each other. And they're going to talk about things in their group. Here's what you're going to push down to your guy, and here's what he's going to do. So that's kind of a lay of the land of how we're going to be moving into the future. Here's how to let go. Here's the things that you should let go. Here's the things that, Jack should be working on. I'm excited. I really am. I'm hugely excited. This is my excited face, by the way, of making
No,
the future happen. So I'm
I
thrilled.
love that. It's his excited face. That's great. You know what I heard you say? All three of you. You know what I heard you say? I'll take the last word. And here's my last word. Don't do this yourself. You need help. You need coaching. You need guidance. You need mentors. You need to find another CEO that's got himself a COO. Pick that person's brains or join the coaching organizations that will help you through this. And if not, you could really bruise relationships out there. You could really take, a long-term person who's been with you, you move them up into that. Well, we'll figure it out as we go. No, that would be probably the worst thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ruin a relationship and potentially an incredible COO because you didn't play nice in the sandbox. Hey guys, this was great. Second in command, a COO's perspective. Always enjoy the conversation. Honored to have all of you guys here. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
You too. Take care.